Hi everyone, welcome to the Altcoin Bible, my favorite time of the week when we get to look at three cryptocurrencies that are relevant in terms of what's looking good, what's something to watch, and also what's a crypto on a bit of a danger zone, a bit of an edge. Always love doing that. Provides a bit of that educational aspect as well as some actionable info for everyone. And excuse me as well today if I'm a bit of a vegetable. I do feel that way because I've had COVID for the last week and I'm just on the back end of it. But boy, it hit me hard. So if I have a bit of brain fog or a bit of slowness towards the end, or even now, just try and skip through that. I'm very aware of it. So let's crack straight in, and I want to show you a crypto that we're looking at right now. Is Quant. So we looked at Quant not long ago as our cherry, right? And it's back in the list because it's done a really nice move here and had a pretty decent pullback from that move. And it created this nice little higher low situation. So what we just want to refocus in on here is this giant trend that just constantly just rolled downwards, bang, 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 had the original breakdown here. And now we've secured ourselves on top of this beautiful horizontal line, which I've just drawn there in white. So what I want to just show you here is we've had this move up to the what was it, the 200 moving average on the daily, bang, 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 could not breach it to save its life. Constantly sellers were re-engaging on top of it, pushing the price down, retested the line here, couldn't breach, but eventually it did, broke down to the 21, then had a bit of a venture beneath it. What's really good here is it was bought up. So I really like that. And now it's secured itself back on top of the 21. Doesn't mean it can't go lower, but I like that it's climbed its way back above this key horizontal support and on top of the 21 and really hasn't gone too far down, hasn't breached to these lower levels. It's stayed really nicely above, the trend and where it's looking. So I'm really happy with how Quant is shaping up here. And we also look at the buyers on the RSI as well. It's just making a nice higher low situation. And see there the lows, one's higher than the last and all that. But yeah, I really like the look of Quant as it sits here beneath these volume bars here and also the 200, because when we're looking at major moving averages or major support that needs to be broken, you really want price to grind sideways underneath it. You want to really see this, that it's struggling to break lower, and every time the bulls are pushing it back up, because levels of serious resistance, they tend to be broken when it's being tested multiple times, really feeling out those sellers that have orders in those areas, and eventually those sellers will weaken and then buyers will take over. But if it breaches, these key areas on the right-hand side here of volume, then it's really off to the races, and then we can begin to speculate where it might go to next. And I'll show you here where I think Quant could be off to. So it would really be to this next key area up here, which see those two previous peaks. So what's that at 152 for Quant? That would be the next area, but that would be a midterm target, I feel, because it's still got quite a bit of resistance to get through here in terms of that 200. It's not going to get through it right away, but I think when it does get through it, it should have a nice staircase motion up. Right now as well, and just paint the picture with all altcoins right now, Bitcoin's going through a serious period of volatility based on what's happening in the macro. So altcoins obviously seriously coupled to Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin right now is considerably coupled to what's happening in traditional finance. And right now in traditional finance, we have some major tech companies having their earnings releases. And a couple of them have had some good earnings, some of them have had some bad earnings. And we can just expect some serious volatility because a lot of those companies make up a tremendous percentage of the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. So if they're facing serious volatility, we can guess that the indexes are going to have serious volatility, and that will lead down into Bitcoin and crypto. So we just want to be aware of that. And of course, we have the big ticket item this week, which is the FOMC meeting. So the Federal Reserve will decide what interest rate rise they're going to go with. Now, the consensus is they're going to go with 0.75, but the aggressiveness of the CPI release, which was a record high, a 40-year record high of, I think it was 9.1, around about that mark. The sudden knee-jerk media reaction was, will the Fed go with a 1% rate rise, which would send markets into an absolute tailspin. However, up until this point, markets have been pricing in a bit of the worst case scenario. I think if 0.75 gets taken out, then I think the markets react fairly neutral to business as usual. But if it goes any higher than that, yeah, we're going to see some volatility, and a lot of these altcoin setups will be affected by Bitcoin and then in turn what's happening in the macro. So let's just keep an eye on Quant here, but this is looking really nice as my cherry ripe, because it's on that 21, it's just under the 200, looks ready to go. Held its volume band, high low on the RSI, and if we just pop ourselves up to the weekly just for that real broader picture, and you might find Quant on another exchange. This is on Binance that has a bit more history here. But for me right now, this is enough. Just have a look again at that beautiful trend that was broken through here. The 21 on the weekly is excellent. So this blue line here is the 21 weekly moving average, and Bitcoin and Quant has come back to, again, just punch right through it, but has rallied all the way and is now sitting on top of it. It's got 4 days and 22 hours left for this candle to close above it. But so far, so good for Quant. If it's up here, next target, again, like we suggested on the daily, it really needs to rip through the volume support above, which would correspond with that daily 200 moving average. And then next key resistance would be that 152. So yes, very, very interesting to see. But I always enjoy, especially for a bullish setup, you really want to see that resistance flip support. So this huge horizontal that I have drawn here in white, this was really big, and you could be, it came back to retest here. You could be forgiven for thinking that was it, but generally you do want to see 2 tests of these major supports for confirmation. So if Quant can close above it here again, you know that this is very secure support for bulls, and then you've got a bit of a platform to move higher. So just keep that in mind for Quant, but looking very, very good. Okay, so my one to watch for the week here is ALTCOIN. So very, very popular crypto, used a tremendous amount because it gives you discounts for your trades on Binance if you hold the coin on Binance. So it's used a heck of a lot. It's also used to use Binance Smart Chain as well. But if we have a look here just quickly, I really like what I'm seeing in the trend that's developing here. And why it's one to watch is because I think it really has the capacity to move up because of that positive trend. It also has, and I'd say it could go up, could go down, but right here, these trends can break to the downside if the broader trend is down, and it is. However, BNB looks good because it is recovering these key moving averages here. You can see it's above the 21, the blue line, it's rallied above, and it's also above this key moving average in the 50, so the green line here. And it really hasn't spent much time above that 50 for some time. It was above here just for a bit, broke down below, and then since then has not been able to get above that green line for really any time whatsoever. So we're above it again. This is a really good sign, and we're above the 21 as well. So good signs showing the FBNB. I think it's got every chance of breaking through this line here, the 267, and really rally there. You can see it's just forming a wedge. It's a ascending wedge. It's trying to break up, bang, 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 and moving out. Just a very nice pattern there. Now, the trend that I'm talking about here is the low. You can see here, and then there's a higher low up here, and then a higher low here. So it's a really positive start. So that's 3 points that you can see. And then over here as well, we've got a high that's made it here. This high here is slightly higher than the last, but what's really important here is this next high is much higher than the last two. So very, very clear, those higher lows and those higher highs are telling me that the trend is very, very positive. Also on the RSI, just similar signs as well. So this, again, absolutely one to watch the BNB, but it would not surprise me for us to go test this 200 moving average, this red line here, at around about 349 in not too much time at all, if this breaks and Bitcoin holds steady. And this here, though, will be a pretty serious point of resistance, and you can probably see why. Not only got the 200 moving average there, but this huge volume band here, just to crack into that, it's going to be very, very difficult. There's going to be a lot of sellers up there. And if we just spirit across here on the left, you can see why. This whole area here is like a big floor of tradable area. Bang, 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 bang. This line here is very, very secure. And once it broke this here, went full capitulation mode. So rallying back into this area is going to be very difficult. It's very similar for a lot of altcoins. They have a bit of ground to make up to, and once it gets into those areas again, it really needs to punch through with some force. And I just don't know that there is the power there from retail just yet, but you just don't know. If things change in the macro, it can move pretty quickly. But so far, so good for BNB. All right, and now for my, actually, no, this was another one to watch that I just wanted to bring to your attention because MATIC was displayed in a few of our videos previous. Very similar to our last one, but I think this, looks a little less secure, but I think another good one to watch because MATIC is a very popular coin right now, and the trend looks pretty seriously going up. However, this here just doesn't look too good to me, and this here doesn't look great either on the RSI. So you can see the last chart BNB I showed you looked far more positive, and MATIC still looks positive, but not so much. And just looking at this candle close here, or this candle open underneath the support, and it's starting to roll down, I'm not sure I like that too much at all. A bit different to how, if you looked at Quant, if we saw, Quant on that horizontal resistance found support on top of it. MATIC, on the other hand, got above this key horizontal, key diagonal, I should say, but broke straight down through it and down to the 21, and now it's lagging underneath it, going sideways. So I'm not sure I like this too much. Still, it's a one to watch for me because MATIC could really power back and go ham at that 200 moving average. But I think it's had a lot of FOMO about it a little bit recently in a bear market. So you got to be careful with those cryptos a little bit. Still, I think there's room for MATIC to go higher, but there just might be a little bit of a deeper correction. Still, I wanted to put two one to watches next to each other just so you can see some differences in that. But the RSI to me, it looks like it's broken its upwards trend and it's trying to find. So you see there, the RSI just broke down from that trend. So I'm not liking that too much, but again, still one to watch, just simply because of this trend that's been moving higher. So those higher lows, 1, 2, 3, 4 higher lows, and then those higher highs. So there's a high there, and then that next higher high. So will we see this small correction down, what's that, 25%? Will that be a falling wedge or a Fibonacci retracement move downwards and then a rally high? I don't know, but still one to watch for me. All right, ALGORAND is my danger zone for this week. Another very, very popular crypto that's been doing really well lately. Now, I'll explain why it's very different to our previous cryptos. You can see it's sort of in this sideways rising channel. So bounce, 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 bounce. It's just hitting the top of that and then hitting the bottom of that. You can see very clearly that it ran up there and then it broke down through those key moving averages. And this looks tremendously weak at the bottom or the base of this channel. I don't like that at all. You can see here it's hit multiple times and you really don't want it to be testing it again, and it is. And this just looks pretty horrible. That last close looked terrible, and this open here looks like it wants to just fall right through. So just be conscious of that. Use your eyes to just see what it's telling you. Don't try and force anything on the market. To me, this just looks like the trend is looking to go down again. So yeah, lost major moving averages, looks weak at support. I think that's fairly self-explanatory. And it really wants to be careful because it drops through this area, it loses this key volume area, and it's going to go down to around about that 2.27 area, around about here. And I think once it's down there, it's really testing this low, and then it looks to be testing that 0.24. So just keep that in mind. Also, the RSI looks like it's breaking down as well. So for me, that is very much in the danger zone. Looks like it just wants to puke out just a little bit more before we maybe see a rally in ALGORAND. All right, guys, again, apologies if I was a vegetable. But apart from that, I hope you found this episode educational, and I hope to see you for our Friday roundup and for our next video. So take it easy. Ta. Bye.